the strength I found. There's nothing I can't do.
But Veyron, good on you, Rogie, your first Group 1. Veyron bolted in. Veyron's got the lead. Coming after Fleur de Lis, Postman's Daughter and Jet Set Lad. That's 2 in a row. Veyron, welcome back, Rogie. Ponderosa Miss in front from Vespa. Joey is flying along the inside. Ponderosa Miss and Daniel Hayne. Oh, gee, this is close. Right on the line. Ponderosa Miss out wide.
Happy Easter everyone and welcome to the First Call. Action-packed 60 minutes for you coming up with racing out of Ellerslie and Riverton. Jason Tarn, Aidan Rodley and myself to look at them. Jason, nice big egg over there. I'm glad that's on the table and not on your head.
Well, we'll see if it sort of lasts the length of the show. 58 or so minutes of trying to find a winner or three for this Easter weekend. It's nice to be a part of what's a very busy time, but reflecting Aidan Rodley on what must have been an amazing day at Royal Randwick farewelling Winx last week.
Absolutely, Jason. Yeah, it was a privilege to be there, obviously. And I got to say, one thing we did, and hopefully I'm not skiting by this either, but on the Sunday morning, they had a media call just to go and see Winx the next morning, and they paraded her for about 25 minutes. And just to be in her presence through that period was a real highlight. Being there on course and just seeing, you know, the emotion and the popularity that she's got, and it's a cool place to be. And especially to see, you know, a real part of racing history was great. We saw some really good New Zealand performances over the carnival and more. Again, Avantage was great, Glory Days was great, Rondinella was very good, and we've just sort of seen the progression of that throughout the carnival. Unfortunately, not being able to really pick off one of those big ones outside the birthday card stakes with Avantage, but it is encouraging. Good to see the numbers over there as well, wasn't it, in Madison County, going pretty close in a few of those races.
It was a championships where, you know, on both days we had runners that were well in contention but just couldn't get it done in the major races, but very, I guess, encouraging that our level of horse is still close to where it needs to be. People are, you know, from Australia, they're sourcing horses from all around the world, and still New Zealand horses are featuring. We didn't win a Group 1, but we featured amongst the placings, the first 3, 4. I guess
we can have a fair claim to Very Elegant.
Sure.
Though. It was very much
a massive claim,
here.
actually.
Nick Bashara, you can just see the delight they're getting, and the owners that have been around them, Don Goodwin, and those sort of guys who really did take a lot of heart out of that. So, yeah, we're back to New Zealand racing this weekend in Ellerslie and Riverton, and I think it might be me with the egg on my face at the end of this.
I was going to say, it brings a bit of the fantasy of racing, the Very Elegant story. And I know we've seen the ultimate in Winx and her career draw to an end, but we maybe saw the birth of a quite special career, fingers crossed, with Very Elegant. And to hear Nick Bashara speak with Brendan Popple yesterday at Matamata, reaffirming the fact that it is life-changing for him. Yeah. You know, she is a life-changing horse, and obviously Winx has been, and now this horse is a life-changing horse for him and all those associated with her as well. I mean, it's a romantic thing, racing at times, isn't it? And when you fall deeply in love, it can be painful when things don't go right, but when things are firing, boy, it's a beautiful game.
And especially, I don't know whether you had the chance to hear Emily Bolson's podcast with Nick Bashara in the week leading up, just about, you know, how it all came about. You know, they've bred to Z from this mare that you know, didn't have, you know, great beginnings. You know, it's a real humble rags to riches story, and fantastic for them too.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture on Twitter as well, or it might have been on Instagram somewhere. They've got a weanling full brother at home heading to the K1 sale, which is probably fair enough too.
Absolutely.
Let's have a look at the bank total updates from last week. Across the board, it was a little bit mixed. I probably got a little bit lucky there because I was way off the mark with a lot of Riccarton, just completely got those track conditions way off on Friday.
You're still 4 lengths in front. You're out in front. Just
Chance to come back this week though. There's some good betting races, really good racing out of Ellerslie and also Riverton, the first of their 2-day Easter Carnival. Let's rip into it though and kick off with Ellerslie first of all, and we're going to have a look at the Manco Easter Handicap. Track conditions there, Jason Tarn, what are we kind of expecting?
Track should be ideal for this time of the year. It's a dead 4 at the moment. I haven't read that they're going to irrigate. I assume they might put a mill or two, but I'm preempting. I don't have that official. But it will be prepared to be a dead 4 in the morning, and what happens with the dew, and there'll be some given. It
Just
won't
getting
be a
into
rock hard
autumn, we
summer
are
track.
getting those heaviest dews, and maybe they might sort of see it. There's certainly no rain forecast.
It'll be a super surface. The track, since it's been refurbished and the drainage improved, it really has been the premier surface.
On the Rocks draws wide, the winner of the Rich Hill Mile and the Herbie Dyke. The Mitigator gets him well under 52 kilos, who placed in the same race that On the Rocks won. We speak of the Rich Hill Mile, $4.50 and $1.90 for him. And outside of that, you're getting double figures for everything other than Demonetisation, who does have the hoof pads going on for Rosie Myers at $7. What did you do in terms of the map here, Aidan? Doesn't look like it's the easiest race.
No, the map's difficult, and I haven't mapped any of the emergencies here. So should there be scratchings, you're just going to have to find a spot for
One
these.
thing was easy, probably the Mitigator, and then everything behind.
The Mitigator will go forward, and you'd expect Leichhardt Steel to be somewhere there as well. But I don't know if there's a really strong speed here. I've got horses like Big Mike and Beefeater being quite prominent, and that's the thing. It'd be interesting to see what they do with Rangipo from that wide draw. They have gone back in recent starts, but at 1,600 metres, maybe he's a horse that they can get forward on as well. So I don't think it doesn't map to be a strong pace for a big field, which is kind of against each other in many ways, because normally bigger fields means more pressure, but I can't see it being too much. How did you see it?
Very similarly, in that there might be a little bit of pressure the first couple of 100 metres, but that middle stage of the race, you'd think there'd be plenty sitting up, having their mounts relaxed before maybe a bit more pressure from the 800. But they might start their runs a bit earlier there. So, yeah, rating a horse like the Mitigator will be important, but I think a genuinely run and a well-rated Mitigator, or the Mitigator, be very hard to run down.
He beats 124 in terms of time for the 1400 for this race we're taking a look at Te Aroha. Here he is in front on the rail. Just really gets himself into a nice rhythm, doesn't he, Jason?
And if he does that again, he's going to be difficult to run down. It hasn't been easy to lead all the way at Ellerslie in sort of mile races since they've refurbished the track, on the rail that is. But if you do get a soft sectional, then obviously that's the key. And, this is Mackay working his magic sectionally, and he never ever really looked in danger. Nice run in behind by Mongolian Conqueror.
Yeah, exactly. One thing we're seeing, though, is that the Mitigator looks really well placed, getting those high handicap horses in. So it means the Mitigator is still only becoming 52 kilograms. There's nothing in this race that's sort of like a high horse that's getting a big advantage off him. So what we're seeing, Mongolian Conqueror drop 4.5 kilograms. The Mitigator's only in 1 kilogram worse than a horse like Mongolian Conqueror, Sultan of Swing, Yun, similar as well. So he does look really well placed. If the speed is only soft, then he's going to take some running down.
On the Rocks was the winner of the Rich Hill Mile. Another chance now to have a look at the Mitigator. Going back to the 1st of January, so plenty of these horses, there's been a lot of things happen in between times, but look, he'd only have to improve a couple of lengths of Mitigator on this run, Aidan.
Well, the big thing is the weight swing here. So On the Rocks on this occasion is carrying 0.5 kilogram more than the Mitigator. This time it's 7 kilograms around. So there's a 6.5 kilogram swing, I think. Or it might be 7 kilograms. So in the end, I think there's a length and a half between them on the line. And it's a very good win from On the Rocks, who's since gone on to be a Group 1 winner as well. But that weight swing makes it next to impossible to see On the Rocks being able to beat him home. That's the way I've seen it under weights and measures. I'm very much in the Mitigator's camp. On the Rocks drawn a bit wider, so it's going to make it a little bit trickier. The Mitigator drawn sweetly to get the run of the race. So on the score of weights and measures, I'm clearly with the Mitigator of the pair of them. But you've got to respect what On Rocks is doing. He's winning. That's our premier. Well, I guess alongside the Copeland's Mile, the premier sort of handicaps outside the Easter handicap. So there's 3 of those, but the difference is 52.5 to now carrying 59 is, it's quite significant.
Yeah, decent swing, isn't it? Well, Demonetisation won a jump out on the 8th of April, and that same jump out was Mega Blast, who 12 months ago won this race fresh up at Counties. Track conditions were awful this day, but Jason, in this race tomorrow, on Saturday, he's well out in the market.
I think that reflects the track conditions that are likely. The weather forecast is fine, so at worst you'd think the track would be a dead 4, but it's going to be sort of a very good track. It's going to be a lot better than what he got this day last year at Pukekohe. And I think for Nigel Tiley, I think that's significant, isn't it, for both his horses actually. Mega Blast and demonetisation. Just a little bit of give in the ground would be beneficial, Aidan.
Yeah, he ran the Quinella there with Brighton running second as well. But I did speak to Nigel this morning, and he said that that Mega Blast is nowhere near as forward for this race as what he was last year. I remember going in last year, he was actually quite confident about how Mega Blast would run. Speaking to him this morning, there's nothing like the same confidence with him. And at $81, he thought that that's probably a fair price, considering that really is just a step up for him as he gets ready to prepare, for his Caloundra Cup defence.
What do you make of the battle here, Aidan, between Big Mike and Dharmasari? A bit of a swing in the favour of Big Mike. Has he been sort of maybe missed in the market a wee bit?
He'll be a horse who will be prominent in running, and he'll appreciate the step up in distance, obviously. The further he goes, the better he'll be. But he's been competitive in Group 1 races in New Zealand. Remember his run in the Livermore Classic in the spring. But Dharmasari's going really well. He's one of 5 of 14 or 5 of 15. She's just going really well. You'd have to give her some sort of chance based on her form leading in, Jason.
And what she's shown the ability to, she's got a very good turn of foot. So if they don't run hard, then a turn of foot's going to bring her into play. If they run it hard, well, she showed there, that was a pretty genuinely run 1400 that she finished over the top of them. She was clearly the run of that race. She's given Big Mike a start and gone past. And it's just that brilliance over 1600 metres, which might be in her favour and might be against Big Mike. He's a horse that, he looks like he's in for a super prep off that. Whether he's quite sharp enough to win over a mile, that remains to be seen, I'd say. Probably not. But hey, look, if he's planted in the first 3 or 4 Big Mike, then he'll just keep going and he'll just keep giving because he's so genuine. Yeah,
Dharmasari's first go at 1600 metres, first go past 1400 metres. But she is progressive, isn't she? And you love seeing them roll the dice on.
And the stable have been very open in saying that things are starting to click with her. She's in great form, and that was evidenced by that performance on Sunday. Absolutely. That was one of the runs of the whole day, what she managed to do. So given that it was such a sternly run 1400 metres, if they do for some reason run a lot faster than we expect over a mile, then it's possible that she could finish over the top of them. She's going to have to run past most in the field. That's her pattern, and she's drawn to get back too. But, so they're not going to, I wouldn't imagine they'll try and ride her any differently.
Yeah. A $25,000 purchase by David Green has turned that into over $100,000 already. Well, endless drama at Hastings behind Princess Kereru, a horse, Jason, that's been so good to us in terms of our bank bets, Princess Kereru. He gave her a bit of ground turning in.
This is a super run, and Tony Pike went into this race with confidence, and he would have been smiling afterwards with this effort. For him to get as close to Princess Kereru as what he did, I thought that was a very good performance. Now, there's a question mark over 1600 metres, and he does have to carry weight, but outside of the winner, this is the run of the race. And the run before that behind Volpe Veloce, he loomed to win, and maybe he just was presented a bit soon. Maybe he's a better chaser, but he looked all over a winner at the 200. If you said who wins this race at Tauranga at the 200 metres, you say, well, endless drama bolts up. But he just came to the end of it and got run past. So from that draw, he's going to get a beautiful trip. And the way things pan out, it'll just be ride for luck, present him late, and he could be there late. I think that's the best scenario for him, actually. Because I think if you present him 200 metres out, he might switch off. But if he's presented late and just a late dive on the line, small margin, he can be right there.
It's interesting that the distance, isn't it? 1600 metres, 1200 and back up to 16 again. But you're not going to second guess Tony Pike when he's going about it. Leith Innes, who's been in very good form lately, takes the ride from barrier 2.
When the money's been up, Leith Innes has lived up to his nickname Lethal the last couple of weeks. There's no doubt, and no better example than Filar on Saturday just gone.
Yeah, that was a good result. Just quickly,
Kingsguard.
Kingsguard's got the visor blinkers on, senior rider on first time this campaign. Just looking back through its Australian sort of 1400 metre mile record, its price is probably fair, but it won't disgrace itself.
Well, back right-handed I think's a positive, and obviously senior rider on board and Matthew Cameron is a positive. So 2 big ticks for Kingsguard. I think being smothered up, being able to sit just back of the main speed, could be presented and run into it. Yeah, he's a reasonable chance. I
needs
think
to improve for mine.
I think you can forgive that Tadapa run.
Really?
Yeah. I think when you look through his form, like left-handed, was his first. He actually looked like he didn't. He wobbled
seemed
around
to be
the
a
bend.
circumstantial win first up when he was just in the right spot on speed and a small, slowly run field. This is a completely different kettle of fish.
It's hard to make a case to back him, isn't it?
Well, one thing I'd say is that in that trial before his fresh up run in New Zealand, you looked at that trial that was at Matamata left-hand and you thought, oh, that was only fair. And I think Jamie Richards said the same, thought the same. Came to Ellerslie right-handed and he caused a bit of a market surprise. So I'm prepared to forgive that.
They definitely think right-handed's better because that's where he was. His Sydney form was okay, right?
Yes, for sure.
I think he might have even beaten Tom Melbourne at some point. Okay, bets, Jason?
I'm with the Mitigator, and there are some horses that I think are reasonable prices that I've put in a Quinella with him. It's a very competitive race, as you'd want it to be, being a mile handicap. But I've also included Endless Drama, Tomalila. Watch this space. Is well placed again to be right in the finish, and so there's no reason why he won't run well to me.
We beat home Endless Drama in that Tauranga race. He's been twice Group 1 place.
Unlucky too. He possibly could have beaten Volvo Veloce in that race. So he'll run well, but it's sort of wheeling around the Mitigator, to use an American term. Wheeling.
I like it.
I'm going to go for one that we have, well, other than Jason putting them bets, haven't really spoken about, and that's Tomalila, who's run in that Awapuni Flying Stakes last time. There was a gap there, just didn't, it was obviously didn't have the clearest of runs to get through it, but if it had got through that gap, I think it would have won. So it just shows that she's going well. Murray Baker, I spoke to him this morning in passing, and he said he's really happy with her. The barrier of 19 is a concern, but I think she is the best price in the race. She's $20 plus, and so I'm prepared to back her on an each way basis.
I feel that I maybe should be having something on her outright to win, because I marked her at just over $12, and that draw and the fact that the track is on the good side for her. If it was a dead, the middle range of dead, which it's not going to be, and she drew in, then I'd be confident in backing her strongly each way.
She's won a Karaka Classic at this distance.
As it stands, you're now getting 20 or whatever it was, around that price. So it's you do worse shopping.
She's high class, and I think she's a great winning chance and a great value bet.
Okay, the Manco Easter handicap for the older horses. Back to the 3-year-olds now. Over 2,100 metres. Valachi Downs Championship Stakes is race number 6. Spring Delight, $4.20. Bobby D up the top of the book. Hasn't raced since he finished 6th in the Derby. Was a good run there behind Crown Prosecutor, $7.50. Gehrig, the first of a couple for the James Wellwood team, $14. A late being the other of those. Chip Chip Rock, $10. Costly last time out, beaten by the horse below it in the market. Ignored at 16, and Intrigue. Wow, plenty of intrigue around this one, Hayden. $5.50. So good last time. A Daughter of Showcasing. What about the speed map here? What are we going to do with that?
Well, the speed map is again very similar to the Easter, where there is obviously another big field. I've got Blue and Black pressing forward from a wide gate to be somewhere near it. I think they'll be positive with Spring Delight from an inside gate. Ignored with I think there's just room for this horse to get forward as well. Then you've got horses like Star Cow and VCC there. Those horses to get back, Jip Jip Rock getting back, Bobby D will just take up a spot. Mighty Connor's got a tricky barrier draw. I think they'll go back there, as they will with a Latent Decadence with tricky draws as well.
You probably don't want to watch this. This is Ignored winning at Ellerslie, beating Jip Jip Rock. Murray Baker give this horse a really good push post-race, as well as VCC that won on the same day, I think.
How far at this point?
Yeah. 2 lengths?
3, maybe 4.
Oh, nah. Costly.
Correction. This is now not going to win.
It's still winning here, though.
Yeah, unfortunately. Jip Jip Rock is a horse on the up. Obviously, it's got to have things to go in its favour, as we saw there, that it would just refuse to go past, to put the race to bed anyhow, whereas Ignored was a very good run. There's a 3 kilogram swing in Jip Jip Rock's favour, so that's a positive there. But again, talking to Murray Baker this morning, he's really happy with the way Ignored's progressed. Yeah. Just a little bit concerned about that barrier draw, but after looking at the speed map, I think there's a position for it on speed, so I don't think there's too much of a real query there. And here's a horse who is obviously determined enough and willing enough to be overcoming adversity and winning that day.
Interesting horse, Chip Chip Rock, isn't it? Isn't she? Like you'd say that maybe there's still a screw to turn in her condition that might have been a contributing factor, and also we've seen sort of when it's time to go with her, it seems like you really have to press the button hard to make her really fire right up like at Tiara.
She got there very quickly, didn't she? She got there really quickly. So it's just when you present her. So do you present her late and then just let her skate past them, or do you present her early and let her go past so she gets to the front? But she did switch off then, so I don't know if the latter is the way to go. I think you just sort of save her up for that one sprint, because it looks to be a devastating sprint that she does possess.
Well, the Chosen One's form looks pretty good. Let's head back to the Manawatu Classic. And isn't Camelot stepping up as a sire? The fastest son of Montjeu, who was very good at 2 and 3. Blue on Black, Lord Arthur, both by him, but Spring Delight took a pretty smart one to get past to here, Jason.
It was a very good performance from Spring Delight, and she maps as well as any of the leading chances. I can understand why she's favourite. One of the runners that really caught my eye here is Decadence. It's just running into 5th. Yeah. Sectionally very good, had no luck around the circle, and whilst it's drawn out, there was something to really like about this daughter of Sweet Orange. I remember watching Sweet Orange in Hong Kong. He was one of the favourites for the Hong Kong Derby, but he had leg issues. And so he could have... He was a horse at the time that they thought could have won the Triple Crown, 16, 18, 2,000 metre 4-year-old series. And he just had no shortage of problems, Sweet Orange. But he's a high-class horse. And Decadence looks like she's got a bit of ability there.
Yeah. Her last 600 metres, 33.63 compared to Spring Delight, 34.22. What did you take out of that, Aidan?
Well, when we see Mighty Connor coming out and winning since at Te Rapa, we're thinking that form's going to stack up okay. So all those 3 horses that had finished in front of it, and even Mighty Connor, I think it's probably the best guide in the race. So for that reason, I'm really with Spring Delight in this race, but real respect around Blue on Black, who probably can get to the front despite the wide draw. Decadence run was very good, and Mighty Connor's obviously gone on with it. So I think it's the key guide to the race for mine, although it really is a field with good depth and quality.
It
in
is,
this competitive
and
race.
how the race will be run is going to decide very much, like Jockey Moves is going to decide. I know that's an obvious statement, that's what racing is, but there's not that much between them. It becomes more significant. It's not a case of 1 or 2 horses stand out on class. There's literally 2 lengths over 10 of them.
Bit of brilliance about this horse. This one, showcasing filly Intrigue. Beats Nerve Not Verve here, who's on the ballot, but great turn of foot, Aidan, and potentially what you could need at the end of a race like this if they do get easy sectionals.
Here's the unknown quantity, isn't it? Here's a horse who might be just going a little bit better than some of these other horses, because this was a quality performance and really put the slipper in late. 3-year-old filly on the up. It was 4 lengths that day, and it's just hard to sort of just match that up with what we're seeing out of the group races. Jason, how did you assess it?
Well, I suppose what you don't see very often is when a horse like her competes over 2,100 metres, and you put it into the context of the day, you don't often see last 600s match up with higher graded 12, 14, 1,600 metre horses, or 12 and 1,600 metre horses, as she did on that day. She was running sectionals as well as maiden 1,200 metres, which I know she's clearly a better class than that, but still over a sprint trip, you'd expect those horses to finish more quickly than her over 600 metres. Now, they didn't go hard, but still, that was a very impressive performance. If she gets any run, which she should from that draw, she should get a nice run just in behind the speed. And if she presents like that, we could see something special. She could potentially show herself to be better than them, and maybe you're looking to Queensland. I'm assuming that that's what they're thinking.
That's the interesting point, isn't it? It goes around the provocative colours too, as we see. But just how she measures up against a horse like Spring Delight. And that's the hard thing for punters to really work out here. And
a horse like Bobby D.
You know?
And a horse like Bobby D.
He's already moved in $1, open 8.50.
And I can understand why, because he was very good in the lead up to the Derby, and he ran a really good race in the Derby. We've already seen, the Chosen One, his Derby run was just so checkered. And so it's, to compare those two and say A and B and C and all of that. But Bobby D in his own right will map well from that draw, and I understand that he's come back well from the Derby. He's worked well leading into it. He's got that Baker Forsman polish. Jonathan Riddell to plant him in the right spot. I can understand why there's money for him. He's one of the horses that I'd be considering backing, but there are about 4 or 5.
It's a tricky race.
What about the half-brother to Bonnevale, Lord Arthur? Has he shown you anything to suggest that he is on the way up?
Not at this. I don't want to be on him at this stage. That's not to say that he couldn't find the improvement, but
it was another one out of that Manawatu Classic that ran well. He probably just needs to take a step up on those Decadences and Spring Delights.
Few of the decent turn of foot should be a good race.
He's a promising horse too, though. I'm not prepared to put a line through him.
Like Gehrig's a horse that's got a bit of upside as well. For the James Wellwood team, like Gehrig's a horse that you wouldn't, you'd have to respect. It's a race that, unfortunately, we're going to know a lot more afterward.
That's right. Doesn't tell us right
now. It's a race that can make us look very stupid beforehand, trying to analyse it, pick the bones out of it, and afterwards, well, we can all be wise.
It's not going to make me look stupid. I'm not betting.
Jason Tarner's though.
The three horses that I thought were value and good bets were Bobby D, Intrigue and Decadence. Those are the three horses that I'm having small plays on. Might have missed the winner because it's that good a race, but I really like the prices related to the form around those three horses.
In fact, I might have had a little small bet on Spring Delight, actually. I might have had a small one.
Very cheeky.
Very cheeky. Let's go to a very cheeky wee break, and after this we talk 2-year-olds. Welcome back to the first call. Don't forget we are still in April, so the double down is still happening. First 2 races on the program out of Ellerslie and Riverton and Randwick. You can place a win bet through your account on races 1 or 2. You know the story. If it runs second, you'll get paid out as the winner. Pretty good deal.
Great promotions. And what we'd had in March was terrific. This has been great too. Can't wait to see what the boys have got in store for us in May.
We'll chat race number 1 at Ellerslie very soon, but there's a nice 2-year-old race on the program there with a bit of intrigue about it. Buffalo & Co. Champagne Stakes it is. Checkers a race winner at $4. We've got Sherwood Forest at $8.50, bit of a gear change for him in Fashion, $6. And Glinda Goodwitch, who's run over 1,400 metres, deserved favourite at $2.60. 2-year-olds never an easy thing. Won't put too much pressure on you with the speed map here, but what have you come up with?
I think we've seen enough of these 2-year-olds to actually get a decent line on them for sure. So I've got Ranger going forward with All the Rage, and Quick Thinker, the other one, likely to get forward. Checkers will get a lovely run in behind them, as well in Fashion. In Fashion's going to be really potent from this spot. So once again, we've got Glinda Goodwitch going back. Sherwood Forest is an interesting one. Does seem to have the speed to be able to put it somewhere in the race if they wanted to. I think they can sit midfield, especially over the 1,600 metres, but in past runnings of the Champagne Stakes, those horses who have been near the speed have certainly had an advantage. But it's not a bad field, this. It'll be interesting just to see how tactical it is, especially being a small field.
Jason, any thoughts on the map here for the 2-year-olds?
In agreement with Aidan there.
Okay, all right, let's go back to Mudda Mudda. We're going to take a look at the first of our 2-year-old replays now. And the first of those is Checkers winning. Here it is, looming up 4 wide into the race. A race winner coming into this. Comes in with good stead, good turn of foot. The one thing I suppose I sort of looked at when questioning this race last night, Aidan, is that step up to 1,600 metres is never easy. So it might become a bit of a tactical battle for these horses.
Yeah, the Baker team, Baker Forsman team have always been able to manage that. They train their horses.
For that horse too.
Absolutely. You know, even horses like, who was it last year? Ribera and...
Ribera.
There was another horse who was right there as well, round the stable anyhow. So, and what we're seeing is those horses over 1,600 metres as 2-year-olds normally go on with it. Especially we're seeing it in Australia, you know, in recent times. And a whole lot of those.
I think.
Yeah. Ole, it was too, yeah. So on that performance, there's got to be a chance. Murray Baker has said the horse has trained really well in preparation as well, so they're quite happy. And being, like Jason said, by Nom de Jeu, that helps.
This is a good run, isn't it?
This is a really, really good run. The leader got away on them. That turn at Awapuni, they really sort of get their chance to get into it. And this horse has made up a stack of ground. So with that viewpoint, Aidan, we talk about the 1,600, bit of a positive there.
They did go hard in this race early, and Glinda Goodwitch, that sits down the outside in the red cap, does get home really strongly. Is made to be looking a little bit better than what it has because they'd gone so hard, and also because Bavella is held up and behind them and doesn't run up to where it should have finished as well. So I think the form guide we're really going to take out of it is the second place in 2 starts back at Mudda Mudda. That day finished right alongside Checkers. So I think what we're seeing is a horse who's progressing really nicely. The 1,600 metres, after seeing what she's done over 1,400 metres last time, that suits. So I think she's a real contender in this. One thing is if they do go too slowly, she will get back again, and that might just sort of be something of the undoing.
I think the small fields are positive though.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't think that Sam Collett will have it too far off them if they don't go hard, because it's a small field. You know, by the 600 metre point, she shouldn't be much more than 2 lengths off them. And from what I've seen, she's clearly the quickest, got the quickest turn of foot. You'd think that she should be able to deliver that over 1,600 metres, given she's done it over 14. Like, she suggests that she's most likely to do it out of those horses up in distance.
What'd you get a price-wise?
She was $2 favourite for me.
Yeah.
Like, I had it clearly because of that fastest last 600 in the race, Thought it was a really good performance. $1.95 to be exact.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're happy to be on her, obviously.
I'm happy to be on her, but you know, again, they're very tricky races. These are races I don't sort of bet strongly into. They're 2-year-olds to get over 1,600 metres. There are just so many things you just don't quite know. You really are rolling the dice. And one thing you do respect is past records of trainers. You know that Murray Baker, Andrew Forsman, they have horses fit and hard, and they'll find horses and place them right for this sort of race. Obviously, Stephen Marsh's stable's in very good form. Roger James and the James Wellwood stable. That they obviously
Any bets for you?
Yep, I'm taking a line through checkers on both the two horses I've got. So obviously Glinda Goodwitch finished alongside it, and that Matamata race has stepped out of 14. So I'm thinking that Glinda Goodwitch has got the edge there. So I'm going to have a bet on Glinda Goodwitch. But my main bet in the race here is In Fashion. I think In Fashion at $6.60. Here's a horse who beat Checkers 2 starts back, has finished third and behind Equinox and Holy Mongol Emperor, and was only beaten half a length. I think he's a horse who just positions beautifully from barrier 2, and at $6 looks to be a great bet, so I'm backing them both to win. Sherwood
Forest in there as well from the Pike team. Trial and Blinkers at Te Teko. It was quite a nice trial too, right-handed. Might have been Te Aroha. In fact, it was Te Awamutu. Blinkers on for it. Tony Pike, Troy Harris. Back to race number 1 now. Really good race here up the top of the book, Riding the Wave. Well, they are riding the wave so far this campaign. 2 from 2. Santa Catarina, $2.30. Has come up the favourite though and pinched. It was the winner of its last 2 at $9. Now, Jason Tan, your thoughts on the prices around the top 2? Were you somewhere around there?
Look, you wouldn't think that when you've got 2 horses at $2.50 and $2.30 you could find value in them, but I have. Okay. I think Santa Catarina clearly stands out as the horse to beat here. I respect the fact that Riding the Wave, this preparation, has won 2 in a row and was quite impressive in winning the most recent and toughest assignment at Te Aroha. But on that day, we got a really good line between him and Santa Catarina. Both over 1,400 metres they competed. Santa Catarina's run 2.5 lengths faster overall and has been about 1.5 lengths quicker last 600. So a couple of big pluses for her. And I think from that draw, she'll be really hard to beat. There's good speed in the race. There is good speed in the race, so that will benefit Riding the Wave. But I just think that this filly by Savabeel, off this performance, a repeat of that, will have her win.
They both won on the same day, Jason. In terms of comparisons, they both ran over 1,400. What did you find between Santa Catarina and Riding the Wave?
Riding the Wave, to me, has to find 2.5 lengths. And that's possible given where he is. He's lightly raced. Nigel Tiley says that he's an improving horse and has a big opinion of him. Those are massive positives to say that it's possible. But she was soft there.
Absolutely.
So she could have potentially run 1 length or 2 faster than what she did. This is a very good win. So, you know, everything on the clock says that Santa Catarina has a clear advantage on what they've done. But because, you know, one's had 4 starts, the other's had 9, you know, there are still things you don't know about their limits, and this horse here could have, you know, 2 more lengths to give.
There's a little bit about him too. He's still learning, isn't he? You can just sort of see a little bit of greenness in the way, sort of, especially when Leith's gone to put him in the race. He just ducked in a little bit, and towards the end as well, he just, you know, not quite the polished racehorse, but he's getting there, isn't he? And he's looking for 3 in a row. Nigel, I spoke to him this morning again. He said it has improved since that Te Aroha run, but whether he's now looking for 1,600 metres is what Nigel's wondering. But you do see the speed in the race. It's likely to come from. I expect Santa Catarina to trail in this race. Flying Grand, Not Usual June, and Pinched are the 3 speed in there as well, and not a bad idea. Will probably just settle off them as well. So there's enough speed in the race to make sure. But like you say, that win of Santa Catarina from that day was soft, it was hollow, and you just, when horses win like that, you want to be on them, especially in 3-year-old company next time out, and I think she's a horse to beat.
Well, everything on the clock says what you need to know about it, but what you don't see on the clock is potential. So what we've seen is Santa Catarina, to me, is clearly the horse to beat. But look, if Riding the Wave is they go too hard and Santa Catarina for some reason is caught up in a bit of a speed duel, is presented at the 300 and Riding the Wave has a couple of lengths to make up, he might just prove himself to be a real good horse and chase her down, because there's a fair bit different him chasing a horse than being caught in front 200 metres out like he was. You could see that, you know, Leith was just making sure he's up to his work, and he probably wasn't extended as he could have been extended. But Yeah, I'm pretty keen on Santa Catarina, all that said.
We'll take a look at Pinched, its most recent win, the daughter of Pins out of Stole, a very well-named mare, Ross McCarroll, and Craig Grill's typical find, the rail sort of sprinting win this over the 1,300 metres out of New Plymouth. Do you expect it to really be urged out of the gate to try and get in front of the other two?
It's got decent enough speed early. I expect it to be... it just depends on whether you can get across Flying Grand in not usual June. So whether that's got the speed to do that or not, I'm not too sure. But Ross McCarroll trained Stole. She was a really good filly, become mare. And this one's unbeaten in 2 so far. Probably just needs to step up a little bit to beat the other 2. Here's a performance and a half. This Flying Grand, Jesus, was a win and a half. They were coming wide this day. This horse has cornered one off the fence and absolutely puts the slipper in late. Really impressive debut. It was in probably a slightly weaker race than what we're seeing, especially Santa Catarina and riding the wave come out of. But it's a win and a half, Jason.
Had to absorb a bit of pressure in the first half of the race and still managed to do that late. So, yeah, definitely had a lot of merit to it, that performance. But a big level needs to be found to be matching it with Santa Catarina and riding the wave. That's, again, these horses are so lightly raced it's possible. We haven't seen the extent of their ability. We've obviously got a hint of that. That's a big margin maiden win. That's exactly what you want to see if you want to back it. But from what I've seen, I think Santa Catarina is one of the bets of the weekend.
Okay, bit of confidence there. Bit of confidence for you.
Almost Santa Catarina, I haven't bet the race.
Okay, first of 2 days of racing out of Riverton coming up on Saturday. We head there next. Happy Easter, everybody. We're going to head to Riverton, down in the deep south. I think it might be the furthest most south racecourse in the Southern Hemisphere anyway. We're here to make some money, and let's have a look at the Carries Arms Tavern Riverton Cup, which is the first race, race number 7 on the program. It'd be a great result if the grey mare, Tilly Dunnage, who of course is owned by the Carries Arms Racing Syndicate, was to get up. She's in the market at around $15. Lisa Allpress could be a big day for Kelvin and Amy Tyler. Sharky, $7.50. The 9-year-old, the evergreen 9-year-old, $7.50. Oropuki Lad, he's been so good to us here on the show. $3.80 into $3.60. Leah Hemi keeps her association with the son of Raise the Flag. She's a toucher. Tina Komanyahi and John and Karen Parsons and Kilowatt also from the Tyler base at $10. Speed map here, Aidan, 21.47. Seeds an odd sort of trip. What are you going to do for us?
It's a bit of pressure in this race for mine. I've got Oropuki Lad going forward. He was terrific in both his Dunedin and Invercargill Cup wins. The Gordonian gets forward with Come Fly With Me as well. Just a lot of speed in this race. So those horses that will be appreciating a good speed, I think, will get it. The likes of Tommy Tucker is going to get a long way back there from barrier 13.
Sharky drops a kilo off the back of his win at Riccarton Park last time out. Beats home She's a Toucher here. Kilowatt's 3 off the inside. The Gordonian in here closer to the rail, and She's a Toucher coming from out wide. Is there much between a She's a Toucher and a Sharky, Jason? The market would suggest no. What do you think?
Agree with the market. I suppose track conditions are, like, you know, there is rain in the forecast, so it is possible that this could be a track that doesn't suit She's a Toucher as much as what you might think now on Thursday. So, like, I really like She's a Toucher, like as and the form around her. But I just do worry a little bit if the track starts being a really loose, heavy sort of.
There's no weight difference here. They both drop a kilogram, so I know there's nothing on them on the line, but geez, terrific finish, wasn't it? Just how that form sort of stacks up in this field will be really interesting. And obviously, Riverton can be a horses for courses type track.
Well, Kilowatt's probably the horse that wins out of the weight with this one, race number 7. Here's Oropuki Lad. He may not get an easy time. Your map would suggest that it probably won't unfold like this, Aidan.
Well, not like it has in the last couple, but geez, he's been good, and when he's been able to get, you know, his own terms out in front, and he destroyed them this day. This is 7 3/4 in the Invercargill Cup, and he'd won the Dunedin Cup just as impressively. Yeah. He dropped back to 1,800 metres at Riccarton in that boots and all race when he did chase home Tommy Tucker that day. So
That was over a month between runs.
Exactly.
You'd imagine.
He's in 2 kilograms better than Tommy Tucker. He's up to a more suitable distance, and he, from barrier 1, he's not going to do any work. It's just how hard they work him from out, those horses who are coming forward from out wide, but he's in terrific form.
This might be an okay sort of reference. Come Fly With Me finds a lead here. Tilly Dunnage makes a little bit of ground, but look, it's probably hard to make a case for any of these. Well, you've had Timmy in your mix a few times, Jason. Is he a chance on Saturday?
I actually prefer Timmy over a little bit less distance,
Okay.
a shorter trip, you know, like 16 to 1800 metres, a solidly run mile on a sort of rain-affected track for Timmy Tyler. I sort of quite like him under those conditions, but I suppose Lee Callaway, Leah Hemi, they're the 2 riders on their 2 horses that are going to shape the race significantly. I really like how Leah Hemi is able to rate horses in front. She doesn't go too slowly, and I think that's the key for Oropuki Lad with 53.5 kilograms from that draw. Again, we don't quite know track conditions, whether it'll be okay to be on the rail or whether you actually want to be off. But if he is rolling at that sort of genuine, steady, staying type tempo, he can do it down there in the context of the racing in the South Island in a relentless manner that makes him very hard to run down. He's a super stayer. He's a very promising stayer, right? So those are his strengths. You ride him to his strengths, and I think if he gets those conditions in front, without being niggled too much early, it's all about getting into that rhythm, I suppose, from, you know, when you hear sort of aftermath, people speaking about horses.
When he's going to carry 53.5, and you've got horses like Tommy Tucker at 60, especially if it is rain affected, you know, you just want him making them carry their weights and giving him his best advantage, and that is obviously out in front. On what he was doing in those 2 Cups races down south, he's got to be the horse to beat.
He's helped with Tommy Tucker being in there, who's on the backup from last week. Bets here, Jason. Are you going to have a particular Oropuki Lad?
Yep, for sure.
Nice.
Wouldn't
I like
be.
it.
Oropuki Lad.
Wouldn't be the first call without all of us betting Oropuki Lad, would it?
we love Oropuki
I've also
Lad.
had a little play on She's a Toucher as well, but
enough.
you know what? I'd wait for track conditions on the day and the weather forecast before climbing into She's a Toucher, in fairness.
Yep, I'm taking Oropuki Lad on an each-way basis.
I'm going to do it too and smash him, make him the best bet. Let's have a look at the Sprint Open handicap that is. And this is probably a better form reference trying to work things out, but the market suggests you can take your pick, really. Finbar, for me, is just so hard to catch in terms of his racing style against these horses.
We caught him last time, though, Matt.
We got him. I actually thought that Lisa Allpress would be a chance here with Accidental Offside. Great record at the trip, $9.50 and $3 on the each way.
Yeah, has won 4 of 10. Interesting speed map here as well, with Accidental Offside probably the leader in the race. Flicker of Gold's another one who will go forward. Friar Tuck of mapped here in the trail as well. Just be interesting to see where some of those key chances are. Irish Excuse gets back, Finbar gets back, Secret Power gets back. Feeling the Love was pretty good in that He Can Fly race last time out, actually beating home Johnny Jones. So, you know, I think they're both contenders in this race.
It's all about timing with Finbar, though, isn't it? He's been, you know, they've brought him up early in the year. They've put him on tracks that he's probably not quite as effective on, sort of your good to dead tracks, even though he's had a couple of slow tracks. But deep into his preparation last out on a slow track, bang, bang, he delivers, he wins. Yeah. From now is when you're more confident backing a horse like Finbar, right? So now he's fit, he's up and going, and he's starting to get those tracks that he relishes.
And he's still in a nice enough place in the weights in these races.
For sure he's got upside. He's a four-year by Falkirk. He's got plenty more to give.
Yep.
Okay, let's have a look at him. Finbar winning last time, beats Pasito, Irish Excuse, Friar Tuck and Secret Power. Pasito in front. Well, Pasito's always a chance if it finds its way into the lead, but it was really nice last 100 here, Aidan.
Oh, I love it when my bank bets roll home and we show it in these videos.
Here he is.
That's what happens when you're leading the best bets and you're right up there with the bank. He's just absolutely flying right at the moment.
He did fall in though, didn't he?
It was a nice last 100 to watch.
What would have happened if we'd taken Bevan Sweeney's profit from last week and combined it with Aidan's? We would have just got this mega monster of success.
Let's not talk about Bevan Sweeney's profits too much. You'll be taking one of our chairs before too long.
Oh, well, so be it. The big guy was loving his work last week and he filled up, so credit to him.
He really did.
What were we talking about? Finbar.
Yeah, we were talking about Finbar. We've got one of Johnny Jones to have a look at as well. Johnny Jones's references around form has been pretty good. He's done a lot of racing in the last few weeks. Just a typical Tina Komaniahi in front.
She's riding well, isn't she?
Run for it,
yeah, she's in she's a good, positive rider, gets them into the right place, and she's riding really well.
Well, she gives the horses confidence.
And I like this Johnny Jones. He's like, you remember going back into those runs, sort of 5 and 6 starts back, when he was beating up on the Signifiers and Enzo's lads and company. He's a decent quality horse, so I like him. I think he's a contender in this race as well. So I'm going to make him a bet, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Well, on the cusp of it, he's my top selection in the race, just ahead of Feeling the Love, who did beat him home last time out. So he's close. I'm not too sure actually whether I did make him a bet in the end or not, but he was on the cusp.
How about the little drop back you touched on at the top of this race assessment segment? Accidental offside, 16 back to 1200, a distance that is a very good record over. I quite like the move, with a little bit of rain about, rolling along.
Do you think we should?
What?
Just go the extra, should we? We've never ever done like a share bet, have we? We could share. We could put in $10 each.
Well, why don't we just have $10 each then?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll do that.
How do you assess it next to the stablemate? That's the interesting thing. Like Irish Excuses. Yeah, no, not your stablemates. I'm talking about Irish Excuse. Alice Winslow's got a couple of decent chances.
It's like, why don't we buy 3 beverages and share them? One each.
We're all friends here. We might be able to enjoy. We get the feeling of elation together when that horse wins.
You'll put your money in and have a quaddie together and stuff.
Yeah, we can do that. It's all about having friends. But if you want to be an introvert, then that's
Pick the solo guy in the dungeon with 3 screens and no light.
Dan O'Sullivan's coming up next, a man who will talk some sense for you here on this Thursday morning. I'm looking forward to that. Don't stay with us. Don't go away. That's what I'm looking for.
That was just like a shared throw.
Look, I think Caulfield Race 1, number 4, Super Seth, his debut was super impressive. I think he's a stakes class horse.
Now Super Seth under the arches is flashing home over the top of them. That's a big win from second last on the turn.
And in the other one, race 4, number 3, Steel Prince, similarly short, but ran really high quality figures, winning, I think it was second up last start, and has still got scope to improve, stepping up to the 2,400 metres.
But it's all Steel Prince. He wants to win, and he's a winner again. 3 on the bounce. Steel Prince, he's down 1 at 3 lengths.
We're going to take the all-age stakes very shortly with Dan O'Sullivan, but just back to those best bets last week, Dan. Both look like they're both smart horses.
Yeah, look, they're both pretty short, but you never go broke backing winners, as they say. And, yeah, they're both relatively lightly raced, especially Super Seth, and their horses well and truly on the way up. So I think they'll definitely progress to better grades than what we saw last Saturday. And Super Seth especially, I think he could be sort of bordering on a potential top-class horse as we head into the 3-year-old season.
We head to Randwick on Saturday, Group 1, Weight for Age. That is the 7th on the card, the all-age stakes. What's your assessment for us today?
Yeah, look, I think this is a really good race. I mean, it's been a terrific top-class race over the years. We've had horses like Sunline's won it twice, Hayley's Atlantic Jewel, All Too Hard, and Trapeze Artist won last year. On exposed form, there's nothing of that quality here, but a horse that may end up progressing towards that level is Osborne Bulls, the Godolphin runner. I really like him stepping up to 1,400 here. He's been really good in both runs so far this prep. He was behind Santa Ana Lane last start in the TJ. And ever since he resumed this prep, I've had in the back of my mind that I really want to see him at 1,400. So I sort of have to trust that judgment here. And I think he comes into the race with the right ratings. And unlike most of these other horses, he's still the one that looks on the way up in his career and has got potential new peaks ahead of him. So, look, I think there's going to be good speed in the race. He's going to be around midfield, perhaps a touch worse. I do expect him to get off the fence a little bit in the straight at Randwick on Saturday. So I think that will open up plenty of gaps for him to weave his way through the field. And while the price, I've marked him around 290, I think he's just a shade better than that. So it's not massive value, but he may get out in the day. And look, he's the one that I'm most keen on in the race. Pete Rada is definitely a chance. I just got a little query about whether he really needs a very heavy track to produce his best. And the Charlie Appleby horse, Dubai, comes here with interesting form off a last start win over 1400. Underweight for age conditions, a very competitive rating here, and he's a horse that has a pretty good turn of foot and can sustain a close. So with that pace up front, he'll be suited, and he's definitely the query runner. But look, from a betting perspective, Osborne Bulls is really the only horse I can support.
What about in terms of your bets for the weekend for our stand, trying to go back-to-back? Good result last week, giving our punters a little bit of confidence. Where are we heading this week?
Look, I think we're going to stick at Caulfield again. I really love betting at Caulfield, and I found a couple lightly racehorses are still on the way up. The first is in race 2, Grinziger Star. Look, he's a staying type. He's come back in outstanding order this preparation. He's run 2 new peaks, both over 1600, which his previous prep says is short of his best. Now, really like last start, he defeated the smart Mr. Quickie, and everything about the nature of that performance in his sectionals and so forth says that he can be better up to 2,000 in this race. And as I said last week, I love finding horses that have got recent form which says they can win, but they've also got upside to run to new peaks. So I think around $5, Grinziger Star's a really good bet. And in race 6, number 14, Tofane, she's a lightly raced filly. She was really impressive maiden winner at Ballarat last start. Particularly strong figures on the clock that says she's got Saturday class talent. And I still think she has some upside on that. And this is while it's a very competitive race, I think around 480 at the moment, it's a really appealing bet for a filly that might end up in better than this grade.
Brilliant, Dan. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend at TRB Horse Racing. Give Dan a follow on Twitter. If you put his 2 best bets together on trb.co.nz, currently a $22 multi for you, so have a tenner on that. It'd be quite nice. We're going to head over and have a chat to Thad Taylor now. Don't have any Easter eggs we can pass through to the TV for you, Thad. But morning, my friend. How's the last week been?
Yeah, morning, Matthew. Yeah, not too bad. Look, I would have actually liked to have paid out First Call viewers last Saturday with iGrown. We had to refund the money there. Not only were we giving it back there, we were paying out plenty. There was a real late rally for Falah. And also another one, Satu Lagi. One for the locals. The locals got plenty there at Hawke's Bay last Saturday as well. I think that was 13 into 8. Matthew, I've got a stat for you. I know you'll enjoy this. First time since 2009 that the Easter handicap's been run on Easter Saturday. I've had my statisticians and train spotters out there for you. Prince Capstad won the race in 2009. The last time it was on Easter Saturday.
Gee, you're good. See, this is why we pay Thad the big bucks to come on the show. You're a great man. Speaking of Ellerslie, the home of the Easter this weekend, just want to ask you about the first race on the card. We had a really good discussion on the show about the 2 riding the wave in Santa Catarina. Not much between them in the market. Jason was keen on Santa Catarina. What are you kind of thinking with those 2?
Look, I think Jason summed up the risk team's assessment, but pretty well, to be honest. Look, on the eye, the upside around riding the wave, and, you know, he's still a bit green, but boy, oh boy, he looks to have all sorts of ability. Just the professionalism around Santa Catarina, that is why we went that way, $2.30 ahead of riding the wave, $2.50. So you don't even need me. Jason summed it up at exactly how we were thinking it. Not much between them. He could easily come out and win riding the wave, Matthew, but just going with the professional Santa Catarina.
We do need you, Thad. Talk to us about the Easter, and we need some money leads. Also the Championship Stakes, very good racing, but we need some money leads just to help shape that picture a bit better.
Yeah, look, obviously in these big open handicaps, Jason, we do get a lot of action down the page, and they're backing a couple at odds here early that are on the quick backup there. Big Mike is one of them. He resumed with a good third. He's backing up, and Damazoro won well on Sunday as well and backs up into this, and both around $16. They're both losing results currently. Look, the Mitigator is a well-backed favourite at $4.50. He's perfectly weighted for this, so 52 kilograms. Endless Drama's interesting. On the Rocks is interesting, but look, best backed at odds at this stage, Big Mike and Damazoro. In the Championship Stakes, Jason, we've gone Spring Delight favourite. Boy, there's a good push for intrigue already, though. I'm going for 3 in a row, $5.50 currently. There was a stack of money for Spring Delight to beat the Chosen One at Awapuni last time. It didn't happen, but at this stage, they've all jumped onto intrigue in the Championship Stakes.
Loving your work, Thad. First Call special time. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I know you boys are pretty keen on one down the page here. And, yeah, look, there has been good early money for it. I didn't mention it earlier, but Tomalila going second up into this. The resuming run was good. And it looks a race tailor-made for Tomalila. We've got a top 5 option for the First Call special today. Currently $6 a place, $4 to run in the top 5 for Tomalila. I don't think that's too bad. It'll tempt a few, I'm sure.
All right, Thad, thank you so much. Enjoy your Easter weekend, the first time that the great race has been run. What, 9 years?
10 years. 2009,
10 years.
Matthew. There you go.
Love your work. The stat man, Thad Taylor, thank you so much. Jason, $4, bit of a price you'd be willing to take?
Yeah, I'll put a little bit of the bank on that.
Nice, there we go.
Tomalila to make the top 5. Happy to, what was it, $4?
$4.
So 25
price,
on that. I'm not quite as wealthy and as fiscally strong as you two men, although, yeah.
The bank's being bet suggest otherwise, Jason.
Santa Catarina, Galinda Goodwitch, Bobby D, Intrigue, Decadence. So in the championship stakes, I've gone with 3 runners, and obviously Intrigue is pretty well supported, so you want to be jumping on that, I'd say, pretty quickly. Yeah. The Mitigator in the Easter, and a small sort of Quinella play there around the Mitigator, which includes Tomalila in there, and so I will be having 25 on that first call special. Look, a couple of plays are riveted. I'm sticking with Flying Sardine. She gets conditions again to suit in the fillies and mares race number 5. Oripuki Lad with She's a Toucher, asterisks around her. Just wait until you see track conditions on Saturday. And Road to Redemption has run a couple of good seconds. The whip was dropped last start, and Dylan Turner picks up the ride. So he's a bit of a trick, that horse, but I think he's got a bit of bottom to him. So if he's ridden strongly like the best horse and just kept up to his work, he'll win.
Excellent work from our graphics man, adding the $5 onto both those totals there with I think you'd said 20 earlier perhaps.
Did I?
I'm not too sure. 25, but that'll be right. I'm going to have a little bit of that as well.
So petty, isn't it?
$4. Maybe 50, I don't know. What did I say earlier, 20, 25?
There we go.
I'm not too sure.
Look at my bank balance
Just
scenario.
back something, will you?
I'm going to back it as well. I think it's a great little bet. So I have to get my laptop up and running and see how we go there. Anyhow, from Ellerslie, $10 a win on In Fashion and Glinda Goodwitch in the Champagne Stakes. 5 over 10 on Spring Delight in the Championship Stakes. 5 each way on Tomalila, and then I'm going to take... $24 of the... how does that work? Come on, guys. I'm not taking 24 of the TFC special, surely. Oripuki Lad, and I'm very keen on one today, Scottish Star, which is my best of the weekend. So $30 there. And Marlo Bick's currently at $7.50, so I think we can cover there and make sure we get one of them home. But I really do like Scottish Star today at Woodville, and yeah, I'll have plenty of that Tomalila special. Are you playing the special, Matt?
Nah.
What?
No, I've got Oripuki Lad. That's enough for me.
Come on.
I like the trial of Sherwood Forest in race number 4. Just a couple of spec bets. I know Wednesday night doing form, we don't really have a lot of markets to work with these, but I'm just hopeful that Sherwood Forest will improve off his first start run. I'd like his trial the other day. Lord Arthur, a little bit one pace, but I think if they do go hard, the son of Camelot could sneak a hole. Big Mike, I think, is worth having a wee each way on in the feature.
I think all the markets were out Wednesday night for these 4 races.
Well, they were, but you know what I mean.
Wow.
Happy Hitter is second up in the south. That market's not out. There you go.
There you go.
Race number 2, no market for race 3 either. $10 Quinella there. That's actually a nice race, the 3rd. I like Macy in race number 5, the mare's race. She's got the blinkers on. You go back a couple of runs, was in the White Robe Lodge. Best of the weekend, Oripuki Lad, Celtic Wonder up to 1600 in the last, and a wee multi.
I'm just sitting back and enjoying you guys, sort of your banter.
You should. I reckon you should jump in it because you've been hangry for the last hour. I'm just kidding.
Basically, my whole life.
Do you want another one then?
I've just got to crack this open. Aidan Rodley has established a massive break in the best bets.
Top of the page.
Like, this has been a relentless gallop the last 8 weeks of delivering best bet at a good price after best bet at a good price after best bet at a good price. So. What is it? Scottish Star.
Yeah, Scottish Star today in the 4th, and yeah, great to get Socialites home. And congratulations to my co-owners. Yeah,
and congratulations to you for Socialites.
My little 2% share that worked out well. So, what was your best bet again?
What was it again? Santa Catarina.
And yours?
I was just thinking about putting this on my head like one of those old school scuba divers, but after
be easy, don't put it back on the table. Never happened last year.
Oripuki Lad.
Oripuki Lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll win. Son of Raise the Flag. Happy Easter, team.
Careful, man.
You're really nervous about me and this.
Just announced during the week, Enzo's Lad obviously is on his way to Hong Kong for the Chairman's Sprint Prize as a part of FWD Champions Day. 3 Group 1s on that day on Sunday week, and James McDonald has been booked to ride Enzo's Lad. So all the best
he'll
to
ride. He's imminent for Sir Mark Todd as well, who's also heading up there
in the FWD QE2.
Exactly.
Happy Easter, team. Happy Easter to you at home as well. Enjoy the punts. There's plenty of good racing over the weekend. We'll catch you again next Friday. See you later.
Keep safe.